Good morning, everyone, and welcome to Mobility Matters. I'm your host, Javier Betancourt, Executive Director of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, or CITT. Today marks a very special episode of Mobility Matters. It's actually 1 year since we started this podcast. I think it was August 25th of last year. And on that very first show, we had the then chairman of the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust, Oscar Braynon. And Oscar is with us here again today to mark our anniversary and also to look back at his chairmanship of the CITT. Welcome to the program.
Well, thank you.
Welcome back, I should say.
Yes, thank you. It's good to be back. I'm glad that you asked me to come in and do a swan song show. Congratulations on Mobility Matters. It's a great community outreach platform, and I look forward to, after this show, seeing it every other week.
Yeah, and I have to thank our partners in this endeavor, of course, community newspapers. We're in their studios. They've been good to let us use this space and produce the program. So shout out to Grant and Michael Miller and their team for everything they do for us. So Oscar, you've now been chair of the CITT for 2 years. And you will be chairing your last meeting now in September, and then an incoming chair will come in to be determined, right?
Mm-hmm.
So tell us what's happened over the past 2 years. Tell us about your chairmanship and some of the highlights.
Well, I think the biggest thing is we've been able to reach the community. I think we're known a lot more now through social media, through programs such as Mobility Matters, and also the CITT Ambassadors Program. That is, I'm not going to use the word revolutionary, but it's something that the CITT's never endeavored to do. And now we have over 100 volunteers who ride transit and give us feedback through social media of their experiences. And we can pass that on to the department. We can also make recommendations in terms of how policy and how maintenance is done within our transit system. So that, I think, the ambassadors is probably one of my biggest highlights in terms of what's occurred in the past 2 years. It's giving us a much broader perspective from our point of view, and it's also allowed the public to know who we are. So it works both ways for us. The county knows more, the citizens know more, the riders know more. We all are getting real-time information. So I'm very pleased with the Ambassadors Program more than anything that we've done in the past 2 years.
And I have to say you deserve a lot of credit for that. You challenged us all as an organization, even prior to becoming chair, but certainly upon becoming chair, to really engage with the community better. At the end of the day, we are the Citizens Independent Transportation Trust. We need to be engaged with the citizenry, right? To inform them about what's happening, but then also to get that feedback from them on what's important to them. So, feather in your cap, sir. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much. It's, I started with public outreach, and I think we will continue. I hope we continue to do this. Congratulations to you and your staff, particularly the communications portion of your staff, Carla and Cheryl, as well as Monica too. So it's really been a pleasant 2 years in terms of our community outreach, and that's what I'm most proud of. I mean, we've had to work through many issues during the past 2 years in terms of our own survival, getting members on the trust, seeking volunteers has also been a challenge to get trust members. At this point, we still have 4 openings out of 15. So we're really, that's a continuous challenge for the trust members ourselves, as well as the staff for the CITT, is let's get a full complement of trust members. It leaves almost a third of the county not represented, which is an antithesis to community outreach.
Right.
So that's something I hope that we continue to work on and that we can improve in terms of getting those appointees on the trust.
And those vacancies currently are in District 9, which is Commissioner Keone McGee's district, District 10, which is Commissioner Rodriguez's district, District 11, which is Commissioner Gonzalez, and District 13, Commissioner Garcia, right? So we are actively looking for members in those 4 districts. What would you say to people who might be interested in applying to become a member? Like, what is their experience going to be like? What's in it for them? What's your experience been like?
I think you really begin to understand what goes into the transportation infrastructure of our community, what it takes. You're working with multiple transit agencies, such as the South Florida Regional Transportation Agency, also known as Tri-Rail, Brightline. We're working with municipalities in their allocations that they receive from the half penny. The municipalities receive approximately 23% of the half penny revenue for their own use, primarily for their trolleys and transportation infrastructure that they can create in their communities. So those are some of the things that we get to deal with, and it's a pleasure, particularly when we see the trolleys. The trolleys run through these communities. Citizens ride the trolleys, and in 90% of the cases, the trolleys are free. Right. So they are a gift that the municipalities have the opportunity to create a transportation transit community base within their cities. We've also really expanded the freebies, so you're involved in a lot of innovation in terms of freebies, how cities are using their money for bike and pedestrian paths. So that's something that we get a chance to be a part of.
Right.
I've been in trolleys in about half a dozen of our municipalities, and it's really great to see when people are standing there waiting for that trolley to get there, and they're going to and from work. That means a trolley now has become an essential part of that community. That's very satisfying for me personally.
So if you're passionate about transportation, if you're a transit geek, if you want to be a part of the process and be a part of the solution, it's a good opportunity for you to be in the middle of it all. Right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I remember Member Corbella would frequently say, he would rail, whenever he'd read a newspaper or an article or watch something on TV about the People's Transportation Plan not being implemented. He decided, well, I could complain about it or I could try to be a part of the solution, and that's why he applied. So same here. You want to be a part of the solution, folks? Apply to become a member of the CITT. You won't regret it. And by the way, not a lot is expected. Obviously, we have monthly meetings, so you have to dedicate time to that. Mm-hmm. But other than that, it's a fairly I don't want to say an easy job, but it's not that demanding in terms of time, right?
No, I mean you can probably expect to say, I'm going to give 4 hours a month. Right. A couple hours in the meeting, and maybe we have a conference call, or you may have the opportunity to go visit some of the other, either grand opening of a transit route or the implementation otherwise. And you also get to know what the county's doing with the PTP plan. And you can go see, you have the opportunity to visit and get inside information in terms of how these things are being developed and constructed.
Absolutely. So you have served on the CITT for a number of years, but that isn't, in any way, shape, or form the entirety of your public service. You have been a public servant for much longer, and you come from a family of public servants. And I just find that fascinating. So tell us about your public service historically, and your family members who have also been engaged.
Well, I've been on the CITT for possibly 7 years now. I think 2016 is when I first attended a CITT meeting as a trust member. It's been very satisfying. Prior to that, I'm a retiree from Miami-Dade County government. I worked at the aviation department. I worked for a county commission chair. I worked in the Office of Community Advocacy. At the time, it was called Community Relations. So I spent about 20 years working in county government. Prior to that, I was a naval officer, an aviator. So I had tours around the world. I was also a commanding officer on 2 occasions within the reserves.
So thank you for your service in the armed forces, sir. Of course.
My pleasure, and thank you. My son's a former elected official. My wife retired as a department director with the Miami-Dade County Housing Finance Authority. My parents were public servants in public health as well as education. I've got a great aunt that was the Florida Teacher of the Year in the 1970s, has a school named after her, Lenore Braynon Smith. I have a second cousin that was one of the first African-American state attorneys, attorney generals, assistant deputy attorney general for the state of Florida in the 60s, who was also a judge. So there's a long history of my family being public servants. My family goes back over 100 years within Greater Miami.
That's amazing. So if you're a young Braynon growing up, there's an expectation probably, right? That you're going to serve your community or the public in some way.
Yes, I hope so.
And they have a lot of great examples to learn from. So thank you for your service and to all your family members as well. So you're going to be coming off as chair. There'll be a new chair coming in. Again, we don't know who that will be yet. Our elections are coming up in September. What advice do you have for the incoming chair? And first of all, I have to thank you for your service. And while other members only maybe have to dedicate 4 hours a month, I know you've dedicated far more than that as chair. It can be demanding, and you've always been there for us, so thank you. So back to the original question. What advice do you have for our incoming chair?
I think the first is to listen and to study. Those are the first two things. I think once you listen, particularly to staff, I think staff has a lot of great information to pass on. They can assist you in any number of ways. They can help you answer questions, because once it's known that you are on the CITT in your community, people will approach you, ask you questions. Right. Can you do this? What's wrong with that? So you need the staff to help you answer those questions. I think the other thing is that you have to stay up on what the county commission is doing, what the TPO, which is a transportation planning organization, and also you have to know what the municipalities are doing as well. Right. So you've got to be familiar with 30 plus municipalities, how they're using the money, what situations they have in terms of their community. And every community is different. I mean, we've got a community of a few hundred people, and then we've got another municipality of nearly 500,000 people. Right. So they have different issues. You have to kind of understand the difference, that they all can't be cookie cutter in terms of how they utilize the PTP funds that they do receive. So study and listen, and it'll help you lead.
Great. Most importantly, listen to staff. I like that one. And I should say, while you're leaving as chair, you're not leaving as a member, right? You're going to stick with us, please. Thank you. And Sana, going back to being just a regular member, what do you think you want to focus on during the rest of your time at the CITT? I mean, I know, for instance, like the North Quarter is really important to you.
North Quarter municipalities. Yeah. Because the municipalities touch people on a daily basis, and it's occurring in real time. And I think that's something that we have to be aware of, that there are transit riders or trolley riders, and that the cities are utilizing the funds the way they're supposed to be utilized. Not that we put real strict guidelines on them, but we want to make sure that they do use them. Sure. And they just don't sit in a bank account.
Right. We won't talk about who's doing that.
But so that's kind of where I want to put my emphasis. Okay. Municipalities and North Quarter.
So let's talk about the North Corridor. What's going on? What's the latest and greatest? Do you feel like it's on the track? to
Well-
succeed, or are we slowing down?
I don't know a lot about what's going on now. I mean, we haven't had a lot of information regarding the North Corridor. I would hope that they are moving forward. I mean, we've got the beach. We know that they are having issues there, creating with the Bay Link. South Dade also has, is under construction now, and we're trying to figure out what the operational guidelines are. So there's still challenges on all the corridors, not just North Corridor. So let's say the CITT is listening to see what is going on with the three corridors, though at least those three, North, Bay Link, and South. I tend to think the Northeast Corridor has a great foundation. They've already got the line.
Right. Slow hanging fruit, right?
Yeah.
Should be.
Brightline is running a train from Aventura to downtown in 13 minutes. That's quite an accomplishment. I look forward to when we can say that it's 20 minutes from Homestead to Dadeland, and maybe 30 minutes from Homestead to downtown. Those kind of things would be fantastic. And we can say 25 minutes from, what's the stadium called now? Hard Rock Stadium.
Hard Rock, yeah.
To downtown.
So was Joe Robbie to me. But
Yeah, Joe Robbie. Or, to the airport. So those, it's key that we make those connections, because I just spent 1 hour and 15 minutes coming from North Dade to South Dade.
Right.
And that's really not where we want to be.
Yeah.
That's really not where we want to be. It's wasteful and it's expensive.
So maybe the solution is new technology and innovation, right? So I know that you and I have been in a couple of discussions where they've introduced this concept called urban air mobility. And I think you're in a very unique position to actually understand this more than most, because you were a former pilot, not only a naval aviator, but also a pilot for Pan Am, and then you had your own charter business, correct?
Yes. Actually, it was Eastern.
Eastern, I'm sorry,
Airline.
that's right. Get those confused.
In terms of urban air mobility,
What are your thoughts on that? Are we going to be flying around like Jetsons anytime soon, or are you more skeptical?
I'm a little skeptical for a number of reasons. The cost to fly is much more expensive. And the issues with the corridors right now is the cost. And if we want to move hundreds of people at one time, and we're having problems with that at this point, then I think urban air is going to have a bigger problem with costs. Creating the infrastructure for that is going to be more costly than the ground infrastructure.
Not to mention safety concerns, right? A train breaks down, okay, it breaks down, it stops, people get off. One of these things breaks down,
Yeah,
it drops
it's a
on
hazard.
who knows what.
I'd like to see some more information and costs. I mean, we talk about the convenience of urban air mobility. Yes, it's absolutely convenient, and it would have, it cuts your travel time in this community probably in greater than 100% or 50%. But I think still we have to be concerned with what's it going to cost to build the infrastructure to support that? What's the cost of the vehicles? And how many people can you do this to? I mean, right now, most small aircraft do less than 9 people at a time. I mean, are we just going to transport 9 people at a time? We're going to have hundreds of these running across our skyline?
Right.
I mean, that's going to be to me, at this point, a hazard. You got to have 20 aircraft flying at low altitude all at once throughout Miami-Dade County. I think that could create a problem in the current navigational and aviation environment that we have. We have 3 airports here in Dade County. And I know there are plans to try to get the seaplane stuff going again.
Right.
Our air space is going to be crowded.
Yeah.
And it's nothing worse than crowded airspace. You think crowded
Yeah.
highway traffic is
A
bad.
pilot could really appreciate that, right? Because you're the ones really having to deal with
crowded,
it. Sure.
crowded airspace.
Yeah.
And you're operating in a 3-dimensional space. So you got to look up, down, left, right. They could be everywhere. And how many people can we transport at one time? That's the concern. Is how cost effective would it be per passenger?
Yeah.
How many people can I put on a rail car?
Mm-hmm.
I could have a train with 60 people on it at one time without a lot of problems. You hook 2 cars together. To get 60 people on an aircraft, it's a pretty good sized aircraft.
Yeah.
And now we're going to have to support that aircraft with, even if it's short takeoff, still you've got to have ample space for a 60 passenger aircraft to land. Even if it's short takeoff or vertical takeoff, such as a helicopter, you still got to have a pretty good piece of space. Where do we have those kind of spaces?
Right.
How many can we build to support an effective system? 20. So it's
an
urban
interesting
air mobility.
concept, but has a lot of challenges.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. So I would like to see us work on proven technology. I know it's old technology. In fact, I was looking at a documentary about how they built railroads
Mm-hmm.
in the 1800s. And man, it's still similar.
Hasn't changed much, right?
Yeah, I mean, 2 rails and the those wooden beam supports on top of the earth. It's the same technology, but it's an effective technology. And even though we say it's expensive, I mean, when you look at what it costs to transport 60 people via air versus 60 people via ground, it's relatively inexpensive. So,
The wheel is old technology, but still very useful.
Yeah.
So shouldn't discount it.
Something
Please.
about reinventing the wheel.
Reinventing the wheel, like.
Yeah. Go ahead.
So let's switch gears for a second.
Mhm.
In addition to your public service and your professional background, I know you're heavily involved with some various organizations, and one that's very near and dear to your heart is your fraternity. As someone who never went to a fraternity, my university didn't allow them actually, I find that fascinating that people are so passionate about these fraternities. And I got a hint of what that might be like just from being part of this Leadership Florida group and really forging strong friendships with my classmates. That's going to last a lifetime. So I imagine that's what it may feel like. But tell us about your fraternity. What's your involvement, and what are they known for? And why are you so passionate about it?
Well, I think that a lot of it has to do with how our society has evolved, particularly the African American fraternities and sororities. They were civic social organizations in a predominantly segregated society. So they represented organizations which were help improve the community. They also, because they came out of college, they also came with, let's say, a liberal or studied background to improve the communities. So these were individuals, many who had come through historically black colleges initially, and some schools in the North that were integrated at the time, such as Cornell University, Indiana University. Those schools were 2 of the colleges that were initiated with black fraternities, even in predominantly white schools. But within the South, the fraternities and sororities represented a community pillar similar to the church. So these were organizations that contributed to the betterment of the community. They were community leaders. So they had much to offer. And that's kind of where the fraternity and sorority model started. And it's continued today. Even though, society has changed, they still hold a strong place in our community. I'm active with my fraternity, Kappa Alpha Psi. And my father was one, so is my son. So these are things that are intergenerational that go on. I'm also active in my college alumni as well. So I'm doing some volunteer work at the Black Archives that I've looked forward to getting back to once I'm not chair of the CITT.
What does the Black Archives do?
The Black Archives is it's an institution and cultural center within Miami. It's located in downtown Miami, adjacent to the Overtown station. They manage a theater as well as a historical archives where they keep records of occurrence, things that have happened within the African American community for the past 140 years. They have records, they have newspapers that are no longer in print, they have volumes of those. They also have current exhibits. Some are art exhibits, some are culturally related exhibits. They have a theater and they have events at the theater. The last event I went to was something that's sponsored by one of the public radio networks where people just come and tell stories about their lives. I think it's called The Moth. But they host those type of events. They host informational forums. They are active with the book fair. Like when the book fair comes in November, they will have events at the Black Archives and Lyric Theater. So it's a theater that is, I think it's 110 years old, that the archives are centered around, and they are celebrating their 110th year this fall, either right before or right after the book fair. So people come there for their anniversary. They have valuable historic presentations there. So I'm interested in history and genealogy. Yeah. So that's something that I participate in, and my wife is on their board.
Oh, great. Okay. So you are a man of many interests and talents, Oscar.
I hope so.
But that's great. I really think that that idea of the Jeffersonian Renaissance man, right, where you really kind of are interested and active in many areas, is a way to live a full life.
I hope so.
And
I hope so. Thank you.
And you're continuing to live a full life. So what's next? What's new on the horizon that you might be interested in, or you got enough on your plate?
I think I've got enough for now.
It sounds like it.
I've got enough for now.
So kind of looking back at the totality of your life, and you obviously have many more decades to go, but if at this point you could identify one thing that you would say, okay, that's what I want to be my legacy, either as a person, as a professional, as a civically active person, what would you say it is? Or have you not gotten?
I'm not quite sure what I want my legacy to be. I think I do have children and grandchildren, and I think to a large part they, to some extent, represent a legacy.
Especially when they're named after you.
Yes. My daughter's not named after me.
That's right.
Okay. And I also have a grandson that's not named after me. So they're important too. That legacy of my family is important.
Absolutely. And you're a great family man, by the way.
Thank you.
And you have a great
Thank
family,
you.
so thank you. Oscar, is there anything else you wanted to chat about that we haven't had a chance to? We've got maybe a couple minutes left.
No, not at this point. Maybe I just hope that we continue, that the transportation community, not just the department, but Tri-Rail, Brightline, TPO, municipalities, that we all continue to work to improve the quality of our transportation network within Miami-Dade County. It's important for us to be able to conduct business, to have a quality of life, enjoy the beach, the ocean, the cultural things that we offer in this community. We're having the World Cup here in a couple years. All of these things make us a great community. But if we can't get to these things,
Right.
if they aren't part of if we exclude communities because it's not easy to get to, then we're shortchanging our community. We're downgrading our quality of life. And I think we need to be able to keep the quality of life in our community. And that has to be a process and a journey. It's even if we got the PTP done tomorrow, everything was done tomorrow that was on the plan, day after tomorrow, we still need to be planning for the future.
We need PTP 2.0, right?
Yeah.
3.0.
I mean, I saw that we will have less than 10,000 riders on the North Corridor when it starts. But we don't build it because of how many people are going to get on it the day it opens. We build it for what happens 30 years down the line. We build it when our population doubles. I mean, you say, will it ever double? Well, we asked that question when we had 1 million people in 1970.
Right.
And now we're coming up to 3 million. So we're still going to grow. No, we can't grow into the Everglades and we can't grow into the ocean, but we're going to grow up. We're going to use more resources. We're going to become a more compact community. And we need transportation to deal with a lot of these issues, whether it's half penny, 1 penny, 1 trillion.
I think a lot of people would agree with that. You know, the city, this community has come a long way, but that seems to remain our Achilles heel. And, we really need to make that a priority. And I know we at the CITT are trying to do that along with our partners.
Yes. Thank
Chairman
you for
Braynon,
having me.
No, thank you for being a guest. Thank you for serving as chair these past 2 years. We've worked very closely together, and I think we've worked well, and I really appreciate your service and your guidance and your leadership and your lifetime of service. Really,
Thank
my
you
hats
very
off to you,
much.
sir. Thank you very
Thank you.
much. So, folks, that's all the time we have here on Mobility Matters. Just as a reminder, you can find us here every other week on Thursdays from 9 to 10 a.m. Sometimes we'll have 1, sometimes 2 shows, so check our programming. Also, if you want to follow up on anything we discussed today, if you want to apply to become a member of the trust or perhaps become a transit ambassador, you can visit our website at miamidade.gov/CITT to learn more. Finally, we want to thank our hosts and producers, once again, Community Newspapers, for being such great partners. See you in a couple of weeks.